Lori here from Unique in the Creek, and today I'm going to be putting together a really pretty Christmas flower. It's going to be peacock-inspired. This is the flower center I will be using. Isn't that pretty? So it's the blues and greens, iridescent with gold trim. Super pretty. I'm going to be using two different gold mesh. I'm going to be using a window pane gold foiled mesh, and I'm also going to be using it's not really gold, they're both like a champagne color. I'm also going to be using a champagne wide foil. I'm only going to be using 8 pieces of this mesh as a filler because I really want to use this mesh for that. The most of the flower will be made with this mesh. Okay, so I have cut my mesh. You could wood burn it. Wood burning is recommended. However, this mesh is very forgiving and you can cut it with a rotary cutter. Measure your roll of mesh. This mesh is 10.5 inches in width. This mesh is 10.25. So I just cut this mesh at 10 inches and I did cut this one at 10.5 just to make sure it was a perfect square. For this particular flower that I'm making, this peacock-inspired poinsettia, I will be using the Uitc petal. Okay, so you can use whatever petal you want. I've done quite a few different poinsettias that you can find on our channel under the large board. We are using the large board. I'm using row 2. Now I have to preload still 3 holes. So I'm using just the normal holes on row 2. I'm using the normal holes on row 3. I'm using the normal holes on row 4. And I will be using all holes, normal and shared, on row 5. Okay, row 2, I'm going to be using this beautiful window pane mesh. Row 3, I'm using the window pane mesh. Row 4, I'm going to be doing 8 pieces of the wide foil. And row 5, again, I'm using the window pane mesh. So you'll use up the whole roll of this beautiful mesh, and you'll only use not even 1/4 of this roll if you want to do it like I'm doing it. You can do it however you would like. I am just going to show you how I would do it. Okay, so you're going to preload the board. Preload close. You're going to go down, back up, and do your zip tie up. So the tail is the flat end of the zip tie and it locks. There's 16 of them on row 2, 8 on row 3, 8 on row 4, and 8 on row 5. Okay, let's see. Row 2 is all done. Row 3 is all done. Row 4, I just have row 5. And then the very center hole, right here, I'm also going to put a zip tie right in the center before we get our mesh on. This center hole is where I'm going to be putting the center of this flower. Okay, and then the center of row 5, I'm 5 of them doing up as well. Okay, so we flip it over again and it looks like complete stitching on the back. So we are all preloaded. So like I said, row 2, I'm using this beautiful mesh. And it's the Uitc petal. So you're going to have your square piece in front of you. I'm turning it into a diamond shape. The top left and bottom right are my factory edges. mesh is curl up, so when you let go, it curls up. I'm taking the top corner, bring it down to the bottom corner, and I'm making sure that the corners here are what are squared, or lined up, I should say. Okay, now I think this is a perfect piece of 10.5 by 10.5, so everything should match up, which it does. Okay, so you have a triangle, and what you're going to do now for the Rita petal, you're simply going to scrunch or pinch or pleat, whatever you want to call it, right up the center from the bottom corner. So you're going to take your thumb and your forefinger, pinch that mesh together as you drag it. So you want a nice smooth surface to do this on. Okay, and then we're going to pinch again, and then at the top, pinch, and you're going to flip the petals upwards. And what you're looking for is that both of these corners are the same length, and you can adjust the length. So you can see if I did it like that, it would not be even. So you can adjust it down here where you pinched to make sure it's even. Okay, and I'm going to pre-make this one, so I'm going to use a little rubber band, clear rubber band here, and just put it on the end of this rounded part, or what we refer to as the nub. All right, and that is your Rita petal. Okay, we'll do it again one more time. Now I have 8 pieces of the wide foil solid champagne that I'm using on row 4. So I've done it the exact same way. Again, square, curl up, diamond shape, top corner, bottom corner. Measure up the corners. Now you can use your clothespin or your metal clips, but this is a pretty good square, and this mesh, why I love it, it is very, very forgiving. So there we go. Pinch right up the center, flip. Now if you don't want to or don't have any little rubber bands, you can put your petal, as soon as you make it, directly into your board. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your board, and that's why it's awesome to have your board preloaded, because you can just take the end of your nub there, slip it in. Actually, I'm going to go this way. So it goes on top. Slip it in about a ½ inch, and you're going to do your zip tie up. And once it's in there, you're going to snip the zip tie tail off, and we're going to do the next one. Again, this is the one that we banded. I'm just going to stick that in, zip tie it right over the band, and last one on row 2. Okay, that's all of row 2. Row 3, I'm doing the same thing. Take my mesh, put it in the zip tie, do the zip tie up. So row 3 I did the window pane. Row 4 is where I'm using the solid mesh. As you can see, it's very easy if you have your petals pre-made. You just slip them into your zip tie. Okay, that's row 4. And then row 5, the only thing that's different on row 5 is we're going to use every hole, including the shared holes. So it'll get a little tight in there, but just go around the circle you know, put maybe 1/4 of an inch of the nub in just to make sure it's securely in there, and pull that zip tie tight. Okay, once you have all your petals in, we're going to go around and make sure they're all pulled out and where they're supposed to be. Now we're going to add our flower, and then I have these really pretty leaf spray. I am going to add to the outside row. Bring in some of this green from the flower. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, which is perfect. I will rip them off. First, I am going to cut my flower. Now this is just you'll be able to feel that there's just a tape paper that wraps around here. You can feel, you can rip this apart, or you can cut it right at where you can feel the flower taped to this large wire stem. We're not going to use this wire stem. You can keep it for another project. Make sure our flower is looking spiffy. Okay, I'm just going to bend this, hold it at the base, and I'm just going to bend it. Now, it takes a little bit of strength. Put it on the table and kind of bend it up. Now, if you don't have the hand strength, you can cut this off, and you can use a cable mount glued to the back here and just use a pipe cleaner through the cable mount. Make sure that's centered. They put these, I don't like how they put the center of these little poinsettias. I push it kind of down so it doesn't look all willy-nilly. Push that back in the middle. All right, so now I'm going to take this L shape. I'm just going to put it right into that loaded zip tie that is in the center of row 5 and do it up. Now you can add some hot glue in there to make sure that your flower stays in there, so it's glued and zip tied, and then we're gonna now bring it over so it's in the center here. There we go. And move these around. sorry, make sure that we have that iridescent kind of in between the gold trim here. So just make sure your flower is looking nice. Okay, so that is the center. And then I'm going to add, I'm going to rip these off the stem. Now, if you don't want to add your leaves, you don't have to. You can save this for another project. I just thought bringing the peacock colors from the outside in would be nice. So we got 1, 2, take some of this paper off, 3, 4, 5. We'll have glitter all over, so you might want to, before you start using these, just shake them off, maybe outside, so you can get some of that glitter off. Okay, so this is the top. I'm going to put my zip tie in the top here to make a hanger. I'm going to group them. So I'm going to do maybe put 2 pieces over here. So I'm going to use hole 1 to the outside board. I'm going to put a piece over here. So I'm going to put, I'll zip tie from this hole to the outside of the board. And then I'll put maybe a piece over here. So there's 3 spots. I'm going to take 2 pieces of this spray. One going this way, another going that way, so it's crisscrossed in the zip tie there. And then we'll use a little bit of glue afterwards. So I'm going to zip tie that in. So these green leaves are just kind of peeking out. I'm going to do the same over here. So they're crossing. Pull that tight. Cut the zip tie off. And just 1 down here. Like I said, you don't have to add the leaves. I just wanted to put them with the flower because they match the flower. Oh, they're pretty. Okay, then I'm going to take hot glue now. I'm just going to lift up these back leaves here, and I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue right across where it's crisscrossed, right on the board. If you don't have hot glue, you can use E6000 or something, or you don't even have to. They're zip tied in. Alrighty, that is my peacock-inspired Christmas flower. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. Have a great day. Bye-bye.